so the great adventure of the crawl space continues. So I've been working on this crawl space for a few years. It's finally getting to the point where I'm going to just go ahead and do the install of a French drain in the crawl space. So that's on tap for today, tomorrow, who knows. We'll see how long it takes. But that's what I'm doing. Of course, just me, so slow going, but steady Eddie. Alright, so our crawl space is a little bit weird. You actually enter through one of our closets. So this is where I get to haul a bunch of stuff down for now. I'll end up using a crawl space vent at some point to funnel gravel in, but that's a little ways in the future. So for now, tons and tons of digging. Alright, so I'm down in the crawl space. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you kind of what's going on. So here we go. Alright, so a little bit difficult to see if you let your eyes kind of adjust to it there. You can see that's the sump pump that's currently in place. We're going to pull that one out. I will probably put it back in. I may end up with two sump pumps in here before we're all done. But one as a backup. And then, so you can see the water here. I'd originally kind of slowly trenched it underneath and then put down just a simple vapor barrier. Now we're going to pull this out. Kind of roll it up a little bit. We're going to trench all the way around the footing. All the way around the edge. Hopefully save some of this plastic to be able to just kind of flop it back over when we're done. And then I'll put down a second vapor barrier just above it. Then we'll finish it off by hanging some sort of dehumidifier out here. I'll be able to show you more of that later once I get rolling. So, alright, here we go. Alright, so on the start of day 2, you can see there's a lot of water still under here. The little bobber on the original sump pump, you can see it there in the bucket. It actually got stuck down, and so it allowed all of this water to just pool up instead of kicking it out. So first thing when I got under there, I had to raise that bobber up, which triggers the pump to start running. So that's all the water problem there on the start of day 2. So all the way back under the kitchen, you can see there's still a lot to clean up in here. So things I need to just throw out, a bunch of rocks, everything like that. But I've got to get to digging the trench, make it deeper. You can see the water's still in it at the moment, but it's not flowing downhill enough to get rid of it. So here I go. So it took me about 30 hours of digging to get the trench dug, and then now we're unloading my father-in-law's trailer, all of the scrap metal, so that I can put some rails on it and then go get some gravel to put in my trench. So that's what we're up to now. So I figure why not kill two birds with one stone and bring some firewood back home with the trailer. Alright, so I built myself a small little ramp. We're going to be shoveling this in. I'll be on the inside. There's my dog barking, of course, in the background. Anyways, my father-in-law is going to help shove this in to the hole. And I'll catch it on the inside with some buckets. And then we're going to start spreading the gravel around throughout the trench that I dug. And then hopefully I'll get it leveled downhill just slightly. And then we'll pull the pipe in and then just start covering it up. That's the plan for today. So the next thing you do is take some gardening fabric, cut it in half, and put it in your trench so you can put your pipe in on top of it. And now it's time for some more gravel. We decided to get a little bit bigger, clean rock this time, and that way the water flows through it even easier. Alright, so it took some work, but we got our sump pump hole about 10 inches deeper. That way when we put our sump pump pit in, which we decided to just use an old trash can, just drilled a whole bunch of holes into it so the water can flow in easily. But most of the water should be coming in through the pipe that we're putting into it anyways. But just in case, you gotta have a lot of holes for all the water to flow in. You'll want to make sure that you also put holes on the bottom of the trash can so that it doesn't float up the pit at all as well. Next up, finish wrapping the pipe and pouring on all the gravel. Cover it up good. So the sump pump install is really pretty easy. Fortunately, they give you really good instructions, not that you need them anyways, but it works out really well. You just got to measure your pipe to make sure that it's the right length and don't cut before you're ready. So we finally got it done. It took us about 50 plus total man hours, at least. It's hard to calculate all of that, but and then it took us 4 yards of gravel to get in the bottom of the trench, covered over the pipe, all around the sump pump, everywhere. I may end up getting 1 more yard of gravel to kind of spread out some of the smaller fine stuff to try and smooth out the entire crawl space. But for now, it's at a good spot to stop. You can see all those rocks I threw out there at the end of the video where I basically dug them out of the trench, and so I wanted to get them out of the crawl space so we can try and make it flat in there. And so I threw a whole bunch out. There's a bunch on both sides, but that's one side. So that's pretty much it. Everything seems to be working well so far. We haven't had any good rains yet, but hopefully we'll be able to see it in action fairly soon.